Okay, here we go. So I ran around and actually laid down the smelter bank and the beginnings of the main bus heading off to the west. And I extended it a little further than my original plans, but that was cool. And I also chopped down some more stuff. So we got some nice clean build areas here. Let's take a look at this. Yep. Nice open area all ready to have us drop some stuff in it. My intention is to have most everything to the south. To the north, I'm thinking things like my green chip array and eventually things like the red chip array. They'll go to the north. I will have to work around their taps, but that'll allow me to push those into the bus where I need them. So we've pre-planned about the distance we want for the factory stuff to the south. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and build the green chip array to the north. We're going to want 4 full lines of green chips headed to the west, and I'll double back one line to the east so we can put our mall down to the south here. So we'll have our mall in this corner, and we'll start putting components here and stuff out here. The goal of this base is not to be the mega base, but to start building the components that will make the mega base. And I intend for the ultimate base, the final base we build, to make this look like, well, really small. As in, it will be using trains to move things around. So this is not a starter base. It's kind of a, well, we'll call it the mainline base. It is pretty big though. 8 lines of iron, 8 lines of copper, and 4 lines of circuit boards is going to be fairly big scale. Now to build that, I'm going to need a bunch of everything. And we have these set up so I believe that Shift C will drop things in boxes if I have excess. And what I want to do is I want to experiment with this and see if it actually does that. Because if so, I can use that to help control how many things I'm carrying, together with using the handy hands to make sure I have at least 1 stack of everything. So Shift C. Oh, and Shift C took out all of my iron plates and copper plates and steel. So let's set this up so that I keep a couple stacks of each one. So I'm going to say 200. Is it minimum? I think that's right. Yeah, these, I'm not sure. I may have got that reversed. Maybe it's 0 to 100. Nope, that's correct, because that peeled me down to the lower limit. That works. So we're going to set those up. So if I use Shift C, it'll bring me down to 200 each of those. And if I want more, I will grab more. What else am I carrying excess of? Let's do the same thing for inserters. We'll just set those up with 1 stack of each for now. So there we go. That brings us down to 1 stack of each, roughly. Ooh, roughly. Very roughly. I guess sometimes it takes more than 1 Shift C to do it. And also with the power. So power. Oh, that's already on there. So why didn't it? Maybe I wasn't in range. This should be reducing big power poles and medium. Oh, that's substations. I goofed. There. My intention is for this to reduce me back down to one stack of each thing, or maybe two stacks of critical things. So, boxes. And let's see here. Oh, I have those set up. I'll have to shift C somewhere else for those. And yeah, so this will be something I use when I want to reduce my inventory down to the minimum and then later pick things up. Yes, I got rid of a bunch of extra. I had way too much wood sitting around, and yeah, I have enough poles, enough wood for poles for forever. So what else do I want here? Well, let's make sure I have a stack of radar. I don't actually need to keep materials for making the refineries. Let's see. Pump jacks I don't need. Miners. Keep one stack of those on me. Let's see. Chemical plants. This should shuffle the chemical plants back into place. It didn't. That's odd. Okay, so if the lower limit is non-zero, it'll put them all back. But if the lower limit is 0, what if the upper limit is 0 too? Ah, okay, so I don't want to carry any. I need to set both limits to 0. Anything else I want to carry none of? That'll do. Okay, so I am still carrying a bunch of belts. Oh, we are still making stuff. Yeah, I set these to making a whole lot of stuff. And I guess I didn't wait long enough after I did that. Because we are still making more. Looks like everything is peeled down to one stack. Yeah. How did I end up with... To make some substations? How did I end up with substations? Yeah, we'll figure that out later. I sometimes pop in and out of creative mode to do things like, you know, decimate an entire forest without ruining my wrists. And I probably had those appear at some point. Well, let's see. I can do something about those eventually. For now, I'm going to put them in my trash slot and set them to 0, 0 until I'm ready to start building them. There we go. So what I want to build is the green circuit, green chip assemblies. And for that, I'm going to need something like this. I'm going to plan it out down here, and then we're going to go place it once I figure out how many of these I need. And this is going to require inputs and outputs like that. Now, I have a standard build that I use for my thing. We're going to do this, what direction the supply belts go is going to depend on which direction this is pointed. So let's go ahead and just build the rest of this. There's going to be, let's see, 2 lines out here for copper, and 2 lines, well, 3 lines out there for copper, and 2 lines for iron, because that's the amount that I'm going to need for 4 total, which means that I've got to have 4 coming out. So this is going to be the left half, and there'll be a right half in a moment. So 3 lines of copper, and 2 lines of iron, and 2, 3, 4 lines of output. And there's our iron again. And there's the other half. Okay, so these will need to merge in with the outputs there. And we need to jump over like that. Okay, so this should be sufficient to merge things in. If I further have this prioritized to the center, like that, that means that we will have as much output as possible. And actually, let's give ourselves an extra bit of there. So there's our plan. Oh, I forgot to measure how many of these I needed. Well, I'll get to that when I build it. I'm not going to build it out initially to be completely full. I think my first build I'm just going to do 2 of these. We'll get all that set up, and then I will measure the throughput of one of them, and we'll see how many we need to fill up 4 belts. So there's our setup. And what do we need in the way of materials to build this? Couple hundred belts and 64 inserters and 20 and 16 and 12 and 8. Okay, so let's build 3 of them. So let's do, say, 400 belts, well, 500 belts, yeah. So we got 500 belts, and we need 100 of these, so I'll make it 150. There we go. And we need 30 assemblers. I've got 50. We need undergrounds and merges, just a few of them. I've got them. But let's go ahead and set up a good stock of them anyway. We're going shopping. We have one stack. We need 2 more stacks of that. And we need 2 more stacks of that. And I'm going to add some red stuff just in case I feel the need. Okay, inserters. We have 1 stack of those. I don't usually use yellow inserters once I get going on this, but let's carry some. And 5 stacks of blue should be good. And 3 stacks of red should be good. Don't really need the filter inserters yet. When we need them, they're there. So, stepping away from the mall, what do we need down here? Well, we're not going to need engines or pumps or pipes. Not going to need any of this, actually. I'm going to carry a second stack of assembling machines. And, yeah, some raw materials here. Oh, that's way too many gears. There. There's our... Yeah. He goes away. So that's our plan. Now, in the end, we're going to peel out one of those lines and send it back up the other way along the belt. Oh, I probably should want a second stack of boxes just in case. And some more raw materials. I have 1 stack of brick. So let's grab some more brick. I'm going to spread out what I grab here. That should do me. Is there anything here that I'm carrying that I don't need? I think we're good. Okay. Oh, I don't have any fuel for the car. You know, it'd be kind of cool if I had a place I could go to pick up a couple of stacks of fuel. Good enough. And it's good to see that my starter base is just humming along nicely. So we grab the car. Yeah, we'll go find a place to put our assembly station for green chips. So north of the bus and to the west of the copper. Okay, so here I'm gonna put it a little ways to the west. Let's line it up on something. Oh, looky there, that actually fits inside a grid. Oh, that's just too good. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. There we go. We are going to use these belts down here, and I'm going to go ahead and set up one of them right off the top. So he's going to go the other way. These belts to the right I will pull up eventually. Okay, so now there's our green stuff. Let's run this back. So whatever I build to the eastern end, which is going to be the mall, we'll be able to pick up some green chips. I want to prioritize that, and I want to make sure it's prioritized all the way up, which means that I'm going to confirm the prioritization here. These guys are all going to output like that. And once we're done, I am going to rebalance down here. Like that. So now the question is, do I want my bus to be balanced, or do I want it to be prioritized downward? That's a question always for a main bus. I think my balanced buses dated from back before we could prioritize balancers. So I think this time I'm going to do it the other way. And I'm going to keep it prioritized down. So we're not going to do a perfect prioritization, but we are going to encourage it as we go. So each time I peel something, I'll do one of those, and that will shift everything down somewhat. Or I could prioritize to the center. Yeah, actually prioritizing to the center makes it so I can peel it off either direction neatly. There we go. Oops, that was input. So generally what I will do is this isn't going to be the typical way I do it, but I'll keep things prioritized to the center and balanced somewhat. This is not going to perfectly do it. In fact, I'm not going to even put the second one on. Yeah, as long as it improves the balance, that's enough. So what do we want to do here? Let's start off with the guy on the right. We're going to need that. We're going to need power. So I did bring down power here. And how far can I stretch this? Can I stretch this all the way to the middle? I can. And from the middle I can go up. Oh, but this is going to conflict with my copper. Oh, bad. Bad planning. Okay, so it's not going to be nice and rectilinear and all of that. There we go. So notice that I need 6 lines of copper coming north. Potentially I could eat all 6 lines out of here, leaving us with very little copper downstream, but I would only do that if we are actually using that much. So we need to plan for that. Okay, so somehow I need to peel 3 lines of copper out. Well, I know how to do that. This is going to be, this guy pulls from here and there and there. This does get a little tricky the first time. So he's going to peel like this, and there we go. This guy is going to peel out there and jump over. This guy is going to peel out and jump over like that. And I could do one more from here, but I don't need it for this guy. But I do need to do him around. For that, I'm going to need a red one. There we go. Let's leave this ghosted for now. It is too bad I don't have belt immunity equipment yet. Okay, so we're going to be doing 3 of these. I will figure out how much to hook up later. And now for the iron. That comes from there. And one more. Now previously when I've built these kinds of grids, I would snuggle this down or push it up a little bit so that we had maybe one more here. This is fine because this lines up with the grid and I can excuse that. Again, we're just going to bring the one line of iron up for now. So for iron, we only need 2 lines here. So I am going to... How am I going to do this? I want to pull one line from the top 2 and one line from the bottom 2. So the best way I can think of is to do something like this. That keeps all of the finagling inside the lane. And up here, we're going to end up with prioritization on the iron and copper. Well, heck, let's just do that. So this is output priority to the right and output priority to the left. So we'll have to repeat these from periodically going up. And there you go. And I do want to prioritize sending things back for now. The idea is that the mall will normally be stocked up, and when I pull, it will rebuild, and that may be higher priority than other things for at least part of this system. So let's take a look at what this does. So items per second, this says that I am taking in, well, let's do it in terms of belts. I am doing 3/10 of a belt of copper, which means that 3 belts is going to be 10 of these. 2/10 here, so 10 of these. And my output is going to be 2/10. So again, 10 of these for 2. So the total array is going to be 10 of these butterflies. Let's go ahead and lay that out. From here to here. And we can use snap to grid relative. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which means that one belt is going to be doing 3 of those plus a little bit. So what I'm going to do is put in these guys. 1, 2, 3, and here, and we're going to have a little bit left over, so I'm going to do it again at the top level. I'm not actually going to populate this yet. I'll do that sometime when we're off camera. What I will do is get the first, how about just the first 2? So we can just kind of see how things mix in. And because these are weird, I'm going to go ahead and put the power in. That way I don't have to worry about walking on belts. Okay, so power's there. As long as I'm doing power, let's do all the power. And you notice that we are making more power poles in handy hands because I really needed to bring a lot more poles if I was going to do this. The other thing I want to do is set up some lights. There we go. And we're going to do the other half here. Oops. These guys are going to be here. Oops, come on. Okay, so iron and copper on the left. Well, let's start off by drawing down where these need to be. Boy, I'm having a hard time with that. Okay, so this is going to be copper out of the top half. So it's going to look a lot like that, but it's going to be up here. And iron. Get a lot like this, but up here. Comes iron. Oh, I forgot to put the iron. I'm going to do the iron at the same frequency as the copper lines just to make it easier on me. So we've now prioritized those. And now copper. Oh, that does clear it out for me. Cool. So, similar setup. And these all just jump all the way over. See, once I have one I can look at, it makes it a lot easier. To do that. So this is going to be sucking a lot of copper and iron out of the bus, and for good cause. So with two of them, we are getting 0.8, so yeah, not a lot, but pretty good. Let's go ahead and do a third one. I hate it when I do that. So we're getting the belts put in first. And now the inserters. So now with these guys, we should now see 1.2 total belts. Well, let's see, items per minute, that is over 1,000 green chips per minute. What does that look like here? 10 minutes, green chips. We were running 500 of them. Well, we were running 0. So you see, as we bring it up here, we're now plateauing at about 1.2K per minute. And you'll notice that we are tending to prioritize toward the middle, and there will be some on the other ones. We will set up normal ways of peeling lanes out that tend to take advantage of the fact that we are prioritizing to the middle. And with green chips in line and producing and prioritized out to the right for us, let's put one more thing in to make sure that we get stuff to the right. I am going to add another prioritization here. To just stock up that right-hand lane as much as possible. Which means that in the middle we will tend towards this second lane over the third lane, at least for a while. Okay, and I'm going to insert a cut here and let this run. It should be streaming a whole bunch of green chips down the wire. There we go. And when I come back, this will have filled it all up. And I probably won't fill in anything. Probably. So save as 9.